A bad dream could get you killed in the ancient world. Here's how. You're asleep when it happens. Fitful maybe. Hot. The oil lamps die down to embers. And then the dream comes, vivid enough to feel like a memory you never had. In ancient Mesopotamia, they called dreams messages from the gods. But not all gods were friendly. A dream of a king drowning, for instance. That wasn't a metaphor. That was treason. Sleep was a courtroom. Here's the jolt. Cuneiform tablets record dream omens that could sentence a man to death. You didn't need to act on it. Dreaming it was the crime. Imagine waking up already guilty. Tell that to a Roman senator. Or a soldier in the Persian court. Their generals kept professional dream interpreters on the payroll. Not for prophecy, for survival. A misread dream could mean exile. A bad report to the king meant the block. One wrong vision, one dead man. So you learned to watch what you dreamed. You learned to fear your own sleeping mind. Every sunrise you tried to remember. But what if you forgot? Did the eagle fly left? Did the river overflow? Did you see your own reflection? Wrong answer, wrong life. The stakes were absolute. But what made them absolute? Your dream wasn't a private curtain show. It was a public report card from the divine. And the judge had a sword. Imagine standing before that edge. The terror began after you woke. You spoke before the priests did. You confessed before they asked. That was the smart move. Still, the room felt colder. Egyptian dream books ranked each image. Good, bad, fatal. Here's the thing. The lines held weight. A crocodile meant danger. A cat meant safety. But a wrong guess was nothing, unless you were important. For the powerful, morning was a courtroom. Your head was the witness. So you rehearsed your dream. You shaped it. You made it safe. Safety was a dream too. But the dream remembered what you did. It returned, sharper. You couldn't prove you missed what you saw. The blade ignored your intention. The god did too. The real terror was the morning after. You wake up already afraid. The image is still burning behind your eyes. You don't shrug that off back then. You have to figure out which god sent it. Because they didn't send it by accident. In Mesopotamia, they believed dreams were divine letters. A god would press the message into your mind while you slept. The problem? You had to decode it correctly. One wrong read and you might sacrifice a sheep to the wrong deity. Or worse, you might ignore a warning and march your army into an ambush. The Egyptians took this even further. They believed dreams were direct portals to the divine realm. If a god appeared to you in a dream, you could compel them to act. You could ask for health. You could ask for vengeance. But if the god came to you as a threat, you didn't just wake up and go about your day. You called a priest. You performed rituals. You begged the god to change its mind. Now here's what gets strange. These dreamers didn't think they were dreaming their dreams. They thought they were witnessing someone else's message. That meant the dream didn't reveal you. It revealed the world. Your personal fears? Irrelevant. The god's intention? Everything. So the fear wasn't psychological, it was political. But here's the kicker. A general who dreamed of defeat could refuse to fight. A king who dreamed of betrayal could execute his most loyal advisor. The dream was proof. The dreamer was just the mailbox. Imagine that target on your back. One fact to hold on to. The oldest known dream dictionary comes from ancient Mesopotamia. It was written on clay tablets around 2000 BC. Thousands of entries. Each one a possible future. Each one a possible death sentence. Now, how do you sleep at night? But here's the catch. No dream came with a guarantee. The gods spoke in metaphors. A river could mean prosperity. It could also mean drowning. You had to pick. And the pick could end you. Yet the strangest part is this. These dreamers had no control over what they saw. And that was by design. You are standing in a palace courtyard. It's dawn. The king is staring at you. He had a dream last night and now his fate is in your hands. You are the oneiromancer, the dream interpreter, and you just decided whether he goes to war or stays home. Was this ever about prophecy? This was not a mystical gift. It was a political job. And the politics came first. Kings didn't summon dream readers for spiritual guidance. They summoned them for validation. The interpreter's job was to tell a ruler what he already wanted to hear, just with divine approval attached. So much for mystery, more like a mirror. The danger? Getting it wrong. If you said, that dream means victory, and a king marched into a slaughter, your head was on the block, literally. So interpreters hedged. They spoke in riddles, layered with escape hatches. If things went badly, they could always say the gods changed their minds. But practical caution wasn't safety. Your real enemy was the rival courtier, the general who wanted you gone. He could whisper to the king that your interpretation was a curse in disguise, and a paranoid monarch didn't need a trial. He just needed a bad feeling. Here's the cruel irony. These interpreters studied thousands of dreams. They wrote manuals, classified symbols, but the pressure of survival made them conservative. They rarely forecasted anything bold. The most powerful dream experts of antiquity were, in practice, the most cautious people alive. And the caution was justified. A wrong reading didn't just ruin your career. It ended your life. One moment you were interpreting omens, the next you were the omen. But even the interpreters themselves were caught in a web of fear. The next wrong call could be their last. Close your eyes, you're falling. Then you wake up heart-pounding, confused. For thousands of years, humanity thought that chaos came from outside. Gods, demons, ancestors, messages. But there is a simpler explanation. It lives inside your skull. At night, your brain does something incredible. It enters REM sleep. Your eyes dart around. Your body is paralyzed. Your mind, though, is on fire. The limbic system, the emotional core, lights up. It's where your fears live. It's where your desires hide. During the day, it rests. At night, it takes over. Imagine what it's like when that switch flips. And this is the strange part. Your frontal lobe, the logical part, shuts off. You lose the ability to say, this doesn't make sense. Without logic, a fleeting image becomes a face. A sound becomes a voice. A fear becomes a monster you can touch. Your brain isn't receiving a prophecy, it's inventing one. Yet you wake every morning believing it was real. But why? Why do we dream at all? Scientists believe dreams are the brain's night shift. Entrapter says it processes the day. It files away memories. It rehearses threats. Think of it as a janitor organizing a chaotic room. But the janitor works in the dark. So it grabs fragments. Face from the market, a falling leaf. A conversation from lunch. It stitches them together into a story. Your brain is a storyteller with no editor. It takes random sparks and weaves a narrative. That's why dreams feel so real. And that's why they feel so meaningful. But here's the slap. The ancients didn't know this. They woke from a nightmare, drenched in cold sweat, and looked up at the ceiling. They had no brain scans, no science. Only the pounding in their chest. And they knew with absolute certainty that something was trying to tell them something. So now we understand the machinery. We know the wiring. A broken toaster can cause a vivid dream. You might dream about falling into a volcano. We know. But once you turn off the EEG, the machines go silent. The oldest question remains. It isn't about electrical impulses. It's about why the terror in that dream felt so universal. Now that we understand why we dream, the real question is this. Why did humans everywhere dream of the same terrifying things? This happened across centuries. Picture yourself on a cliff edge. Wind whips your hair. Your heart slams against your ribs. But you are asleep. You wake gasping, tangled in sheets, the room spinning. Floor is solid. The thread is gone. Yet your body is convinced it just fell to its death. That feeling is ancient. And it was not just a nightmare. It was a warning system. 3,000 years ago, an Assyrian farmer woke from the same falling dream. He did not scroll through a dream dictionary. He grabbed his family. He checked the foundation posts of his home. That dream told him the earth might swallow his house whole. And sometimes it was right. The terror you feel running from an unseen pursuer? That was a saber-toothed tiger. That was a rival tribe. That was a predator that could erase you from existence. But your brain didn't just wake up scared one day. Your brain did not invent these fears. It inherited them from ancestors who survived long enough to pass them on. Imagine what that inheritance costs. Consider this. Modern studies show people still dream of falling, being chased, or losing teeth. The teeth one is bizarre. It might trace back to a time. Losing teeth meant losing the ability to chew. And losing that meant starvation. Think about that. Your nightmare is a fossil. The ancients saw these dreams and built entire religious systems around them. They did not understand REM cycles. They understood fear. So they invented rituals, charms, and sacrifices. Each one a desperate attempt to tame a danger their sleeping mind had previewed. Picture the weight of that guesswork. Those fears didn't vanish with time. They evolved into how we handle our own nightly terrors. The same hands that carved dream charms now grip smartphones. We still wake, hearts pounding, reaching for meaning. The ritual changed, the need didn't. A dream of falling still makes you check your locks? Now ask yourself what you're really checking for. The clay cracked, the temple crumbled. But the pattern in your mind survived it all. You still flinch at shadows. You still dream of falling. Here is what the ancients never knew. But here's the thing. They were closer than they thought. That falling dream is not a message. It is a rehearsal. Your brain runs disaster drills every night. It simulates the bear, the cliff, the enemy at the gate. You wake and you are still here, so you learn. The ancient interpreters called it prophecy. They were wrong about the source. Now imagine the truth they missed. They were right about the impulse, though. Humans cannot look at a random pattern and see nothing. We see meaning. That is not a flaw. It is a feature. But is that always a good thing? Consider this. Every culture that ever existed invented a story for the sleeping mind. Every single one. No human society on record treated dreams as pure noise. Not one. That is not coincidence. That is biology. Yet how far does that impulse go? Your brain is a prediction machine. It takes fragments of memory and emotion. It weaves them into a story you can survive. Then it hands you that story as a gift. You wake and you know something you did not know before. Not about the gods, about yourself. Imagine trusting that. So what did ancient humans dream about? The same things you do. Falling, chasing, loss. They just had better excuses for why. The dream interpreter was a politician, not a prophet. But the need beneath his fraud was real. You need the dream to mean something. So you make it mean something. That urge mended your ancestors' fear into courage. Tonight, when the tiger of your mind gives chase, remember, you are not being haunted. You are being trained.